What's up, y'all? Ironius here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today's video, I'm just going to be going over what's going on for this weekend. I don't usually go over these things, but I figured I'd start doing it just to add to the content that I create on my channel. I don't typically go over this stuff because so many players actually go over these topics already, but you know what? Might as well just go over it myself as well. Give you my take on these champions as well. So it may be like around 20-minute video, maybe less, depending on how far in depth I want to go with the video itself. So we've got a 2x plan for this weekend. So 2x for summoning legendary champions from sacred shards. So not bad. Of course, we love that. So if you do have sacreds laying around and you want to pop them, go for it. I think it's coinciding with the summon rush potentially. Let me just double check on that. I don't know 100%. Let's see. So it starts on the 17th. So it does coincide. All right, so Thursday till Saturday, Sunday. And so, yeah, it's actually coinciding at the same time as the Heroes Path event. So if you are pulling your Sacred Shards and you're going for this fusion, then it kind of helps. It's a win-win. But for Friday, or Thursday, Friday, the first day, they're going to be doing, let's see, Dune Lord Greggor and Tuhanarak. Okay, so that's going to be, I believe, the first day. Then this Friday, they're going to be launching a progressive chance to get Vizug the Noxious and Graazur. So let's start off with Dune Lord. I believe he's a barbarian, and he is over here. There he is. Greggor, he does hit somewhat decent damage, and I mean, he's a decent champion. I don't really see him played very often in Arena. More of a PvE champion, in my opinion. Yeah, he's really bad for reviews. Personally, I think he's okay for the faction, but not really worth pulling your shards on. That's just me. A provoke on the A1, attacks all enemies, you know. Nothing too crazy to shake a stick out on that guy. Then Tuhanarak, who is old but gold, also a barbarian, but a void legendary. She's insane. She's still crazy. Decreased speed on the A1 and continuous heal on this champion. Also place a continuous heal for one turn on the ally with the lowest HP. Super, super strong. Kind of like the Sylvan Watcher, except a little bit stronger. Who is it? What's her name? Elva Autumnborn. But she's stronger on the A1 in my opinion, because the decreased speed is also super powerful against bosses and enemies in general. Then she also has decreased attack and block buffs and takes a spread effect. Also applies the spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Very, very strong. She is good in PvP, but personally, she's more of a Hydra PvE goddess, in my opinion. Then on the A3, the increased defense and increased speed on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown if it's booked. And then this is their craziest ability, which is the passive. Removes 2 random debuffs instead from allies under continuous heal, and removes 1 random debuff from all allies at the start of each turn. So similar to Doom Priest, it's just a stronger version. And then she has accuracy in all battles. So early game, she's insane. Mid game, she's insane. Even in end game for Hydra teams, she's very, very strong. Personally, I wouldn't pull my voids for her, but definitely a good champion to have. On the 18th, Vizug the Noxious. I don't know who the heck that even is, but let's just try to take a look for where he's at. All right, sure. So Vizug is also another champion that's a Unity champ. So this guy here, okay, AoE right here, chance of instantly activating poisons and HP burns, which is very strong. I think this is very, very strong for an A1 skill. He's very strong in Hydra. See his reviews compared to the other one, way stronger, right? Crazy in Faction Wars. Of course he's going to be crazy in Faction Wars, but Hydra is where he shines. PvE champion all the way. Attacks all enemies again, 75% chance of placing 2 poisons and an HP burn for 2 turns, 100% chance, booked down to a 3-turn cooldown. So this guy could be disgusting in Hydra, mid-game, late game, also end game if you can put him in a really good comp. But, of course, if you're end game, you're probably going to have other champions to utilize. But this guy is very strong, especially with the faction allies. Team up here, places an increased speed on all allies for 2 turns with 1 faction ally alongside of this A3. Before attacking, increase accuracy plus increased speed with 1 ally, increases duration of all enemy debuffs by 2 turns, and decreases the duration of all ally debuffs by 2 turns instead. And that's with 2 faction allies. With 3 faction allies, heals all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP, heals them by an additional 2%, stacks up to 50% for every enemy debuff that has its duration increased, and every ally debuff that has its duration decreased. So very strong champion here, in my opinion. He's worth going for Hydra if you're struggling in Hydra. Definitely a very strong champion. Increase HP battles, ally HP battles 30%. That's not bad. Increase ally speed in all battles by 15% for Ogryn only. That's kind of low though for a legendary Unity champion. Figured maybe 19% or 24% would have been really nice, but I guess it is what it is. I guess they don't want him to make him too broken, but he is decent stats. 22,000 HP is also nice. A Graazur, also very strong in the same faction here. This guy's an insane Hydra champion, so him pairing really well with Vizug. He's very, very good champion. He's also a defense-based champion, so easy to keep alive. He has enemy max HP on this ability here, attacking all enemies. And he acts kind of like a Vogoth and places an unkillable on himself before a fatal hit. So whenever this champion's attack, heals all allies except this champ by 70% of the damage received. Only heals by 35% of the damage from boss attacks. And this has no cooldown, which is very, very powerful. So him in Hydra, he's still a god in Hydra. He also provokes as well. Increase res and increase defense on all allies too. So that's super, super, super strong, which makes him insane against the Mischief tank, as a Mischief tank. So really, really strong champion in general. And then attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. Value of shield proportional to his defense. So you don't need to build him with crazy, crazy damage in order for the shield to be large. You just have to have a lot of defense. And he does have 1300 defense, so it's a little bit low, but it's still good scaling. And then 102 speed, so he's pretty fast as well. You could build this guy in multiple different ways. Damage is like the main way if you're just utilizing him as the damage dealer, but you could also put him in full protection damage. You could put him in anything you want, really. The next one, April 19th, which is Saturday. Planning on launching an event to 15x as well. Tribune Herakletes. I do have this guy. He's an undead champion. Tribune is not bad of a Unity champ. He's just okay. I don't think he's insane. I'd probably give him like a 4 out of 5 for PvP. Probably a 4.5 in PvE. So PvP, he's actually rated extremely high, which I'm surprised at how high of a rating he's getting, because you really need to have Sifi for this guy to be god tier. So if you don't have Sifi, he's not as great. But now with the introduction of Fabian, he's actually way stronger with Fabian. So if you want me to show you really quickly, I'll do one battle in here with him and Fabian. He also does increased defense and increased crit rate, which I think that's one of the weaker auras for a Unity champion, in my opinion. I think that's very weak. But if you just use him in Classic Arena only or Tag Team, which is where he's preferred, he's going to be pretty strong if you can put other undead champions with 80% crit rate if he needs another damage dealer besides him. Also, you could bring in a Rhodos with him, Fabian. I personally would put Fabian on the lead. And then one more undead would be like a UDK. So this is kind of like a team you could use. Other undead champs, I don't think I have like a good reviver. Maybe I think you could use like a epic reviver. Yeah, this guy right here. Gorgorab, he's decent. I don't think he's insane, but he's decent. So Gorgorab could be someone you can bring in as a revive or UDK as well. So this is kind of like the team comp that you would use if you don't have a Sifi, but Sifi is 10 times better with Herakletes. So this is kind of like what you would do. Boom. And then you speed up. He's an increased defense champion. That's why Sifi's so strong, by the way. We can take him out, and we're just going to A1 just so he can get a turn. So what we're going to do, his big hitting ability is this one. I wish it did splash damage. Then he would be absolutely filthy god tier, but he does not. But this is what he does. Boom, 159,000 damage. Then he can come in and stone skin someone, then stone him again. Not stone skin, petrify him. And then basically just go right back around to Herakletes. I'm just going to A1 again. I don't want it to be a Roto showcase here. but he gets his ability back if he kills someone, so he can just keep on popping off with that ability, which is not bad, but again, you know, he's not getting extra turns, so that's the downside for Herakletes as well, is not getting extra turns. So you kind of want to wipe people right away if possible. I didn't even do the AoE, but like I said, that is Herakletes. He's also really good with the champion that's paired with him on the 19th, so you can also get a chance at getting Necrit. So Sifi Necrit would be the best with him. Sifi, Necrit, Rhodos is what I would go with. That would probably be the strongest. Or actually, no. Now you can just do Fabian, Sifi, Necrit, and Herakletes. That would be insane because Herakletes is protected. But the other thing is Herakletes has an interesting kit where when he's dead, he has more value when he's dead. So whenever this champion is dead and an ally attacks, this champion will join the attack using their default skill. Another reason why he would be strong with, say, Rhodos or another champion that does damage. So basically, you want to always bring him in with another damage dealer and not just bring him in with all supports, because it would take forever to win the fight when you want fights to be quick, right? But anyways, let's move on to the next one here. For the 20th, they're planning to launch another progressive chance, and you can get Admiral Blacktusk. Admiral Blacktusk. Okay, so with Admiral Blacktusk, looks really cool, by the way. Attacks one enemy, stun. This debuff cannot be resisted when this champion is attacking out of their active turn. Not bad. Removes all debuffs from all allies. Then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies joining the attack will use their default skills. On a 3-turn is not bad. Removes all buffs from a target and places a stun debuff for 2 turns. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50%. Fills this champion's turn meter by an additional 10% for each buff removed from the target. That's not bad. With a single faction ally, buff removal and stun cannot be resisted. That's actually very strong. For having only a single faction ally, that is very strong. Resist the cooldown of this skill when an enemy is killed while under... resets the cooldown of this skill when an enemy is killed while under a stun debuff placed by this champion. Not bad. Allies deal double damage to targets under stun debuffs placed by this champion. It's okay. Damn, this is like a booklet right here. Allies will counterattack whenever they lose 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. This is a very strong champion for a dwarf. He's a very strong Unity champion. Based on his kit, just reading it, he's going to be insane for faction wars and all PvE. Very good for arena as well. You could pretty much just build him super tanky and try to have him protect everybody. Or you could build him super fast. I mean, it's up to you really what you want to do. But multiple ways to build this guy. He does a decreased res, a decreased speed, and stone skin. Interesting. Whenever an ally places a fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, petrification, sleep, fills that champion's turn meter by 20%. Occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions on the team with the skill, only one will activate. 2 faction allies, whenever an ally is attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decrease res and a 30% decrease speed debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. If the ally is under block damage, unkillable, ally protection, or stone skin, the chance increases to 100%. If there are multiple champions on the same team with the skill, only one will activate. At the start of each round, place a stone skin buff on all allies for 1 turn. Wow! That's very strong. So you don't even need stone skin. You could have everybody in random gear and they can basically have stone skin, even your damage dealers. That's incredibly powerful for 3 faction allies. If there are multiple champions on the same team, only one will activate. This is very strong. This guy's very, very strong. I would recommend going for this guy. Out of all of them, out of all of the Unity champs for this upcoming events, I would go for that guy. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Arnon. Oh, Arnon. That's right. Can't forget about that dude. He's freaking insane. I would also go for this guy. So if you're going to save for pulling shards, you should be pulling on the 20th, in my opinion, which is going to be on Sunday. Don't pull for any other champions. My recommendation is to pull for Arnon the Shining, super crazy PvP champion, and pull for the Admiral Blacktusk. Those are the ones I would recommend pulling for. But what are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I gave you my recommendations, and I will see you on a video soon. Take care.